weeks ago, I was out last week. 2 weeks ago, we talked about the prospects for platinum for 2019. And I said at that time we'd talk about silver and palladium today. So here we are. We're looking at palladium right now. It's the most expensive of all the metals, including gold. It's about $70 higher per ounce today. It's around $13.50 per ounce compared to $12.80 for gold. So we're calling now palladium the precious metal. A lot of you have bought palladium from me at 199 an ounce, 380s, 600s, and 800s. The 4 times I gave a buy signal to keep buying palladium. But as the ones of you know, I now believe that palladium will top out in the month of January, February, or March. I'm not sure which one, but there's many reasons for that. But the main one is the car demand worldwide is settling down. The major uses for the catalytic converter. We've got a metal now that is mined about 90% of the supply comes from the Soviet Union, and it's in the very, very cold area of Siberia where these mines are. So what you have is usually sometime in the fall, around October, they start freezing, and then the days cut down and supply cuts down, and by January, February, or March, the last 3 months before they start mining again, you usually see the top of the price for the year. Not always. Last year was a little different, but as a rule of thumb, over the 43 years that I've been doing this. So I say, as I said 2 weeks ago, get out with your palladium. I'm not telling you it's not going to go a little bit higher, because it probably is in January. It could, but if you're trying to catch the exact top to get out, that's one thing. If you're trying to catch the exact top to transfer to something else like silver or palladium or gold, then my advice would be to go on and sell your palladium now. We're also seeing the bids are starting to drop with some of the wholesalers because they're getting a little more supply. A little more people are taking advantage of the rising price to liquidate and cash in their palladium to put somewhere else. So don't be surprised if it gets up in the 1400s, but I would be very surprised if palladium gets to 1500 on this run. Not impossible, certainly, but that's my opinion. Now we go to silver, a much harder metal to figure out. You got all the first third quarter news came back that it was $15.40 an ounce to mine silver, and that was over taking the top 10 companies in silver and averaged it on their reports that came out at the end of the third quarter. We'll be getting those numbers any day, probably the next two or 3 weeks, on what the cost was for the fourth quarter of 2019. But as we're speaking, silver is basically selling at mining cost with no premium. You may not ever have another chance to buy silver at this price. Now, there are a couple good things and a couple concerns in this market right now. Right now, we're seeing a lot about these 2 refineries that are shutting down. It's going to limit the supply of making silver bars and silver coins, indeed, with less people to produce it if the demand picks up. So we look at that, and we're getting a lot of calls about stories out there and videos out there and people on YouTube out there talking about these refineries that are closing because of nonprofit, and maybe they'll come back, maybe they won't. We have no way of knowing. But the thing I get the most questions about was about 3 weeks ago when COMEX showed 295 million ounces of silver for delivery. Now, once again, you can take that one of 2 ways. You can take it that if JP Morgan has 135 million registered for delivery and then there's another 160 million for 295, one of the highest numbers I've ever seen in my career, then what is that silver doing over there? Are they getting ready to go short and absolutely try to squash the silver market for one last time and push the silver down to the 1380s, 1410, 1480? You hear different numbers. I personally don't think that's it, but certainly I've learned to never say never. But if they were going to do that, I would have thought they would have already done that. So now you go to the other side. Are they getting ready to go long? Are they getting ready to go in and leverage 5 to 8 times on their physical silver in the futures market and do what they did in 2000 when silver was in the $3 and we saw it go to 48, go up 16 times over a 12-year period? So maybe they're getting ready to go long again, which would make a lot more sense for a lot more reasons. So if they are going to go long, when they do, how quick will it jump? We're seeing numbers out there, first 1850, then resistance, then to 2150, 22, then resistance, which means there could be small pullbacks when they hit those numbers. But the step ladder is going up, the steps are going up, and the price is going up, even when there are pullbacks that are always healthy in any market, whatever it is. So I lean more that way than I do. I lean that you can wait until the costs come out, and maybe the fourth quarter was 1550, maybe it was 1560, in which case you'd be buying below mining cost, or maybe it drops a little bit, who knows. But I would get in there now, because if these mining stories are true, then, I mean, not the mining stories and the stories of the refineries shutting down, which looks like is true, then certainly we're going to see premiums go up as well as the price of silver going up. There's some incredible strategies right now in the 100-ounce bars. We'd be happy to talk to you about those. If you give us a call at 800-247-2812, that's 800-247-2812. And certainly we're going to see the Fed talk about raising rates, but I would be surprised if they do, with all the trouble with the government shutdown, the problems Trump's having with the attacks and people wanting to impeach him and all the stuff going on that is a distraction, but it does hurt your economy. And most of all, you want silver for a barter item and protection, because I can tell you this budget deficit is running away. Since the fiscal 2020 started on, the fiscal 2019 started on October 1st. So October, November, December, we run $110 billion average for those 3 months, which is on track for the biggest deficit ever under Obama or Bush. This one will be bigger under Trump. And the tax revenues are going like this. People are laid off. Business is starting to cap out. We're seeing signs of early recession. And so you've got more spending and less money coming in is not a recipe for a good stock market or bond market for that matter. It could help the bond market a little bit if we go into recession and interest rates go down. But stocks still look very risky to me. Not to say that stocks aren't going up, but all we heard in 2018 is how great stocks were. And what ended up happening to stocks, I mentioned to you last time, gold went down 1.85% for 2008. Palladium went up 18.5%. The Dow went down 5.9, the NASDAQ 4.2, and the S&P 6.57. In other words, the stock market did 3 times worse than gold. I'm just using gold, not palladium that went up 15.8%. But it looks to be again like gold and silver and platinum will all outperform stocks in the stock indices this year. I'm not saying an isolated stock could not outperform the metals. Not saying that at all. I'm talking about the indexes. So hopefully we brought you up to date. We still got a lot of people moving into self-directed precious metals IRAs. We can be your representative. We can be your broker. We cannot be the administrator. So you'll need to call us for the custodians that we use, and we can help you set that up. So just remember, we think we're the lowest round trip. When you look at, you're paying us 2.5 or 3% to buy, you're paying us nothing when you sell. Nobody else in the country does that. So we have the lowest break-even point that we know of anybody. So give us a call if you want to talk about any of those subjects that we've talked about today. Wishing you a prosperous investing in 2019, and I continue to say the greatest investment advice in the history of the world is Ecclesiastes 11:2, which is to divide your wealth in different categories, because no man knows what disaster will come upon the land. And I think it's smart to spread your risk again around and through different asset classes. With this week's Precious Metals Market Update, this is Tom Cloud signing off.